Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to make a video on speakers today. So this is, I'm a DJ, so I'm aiming it at DJs, but it can be used for bands or anybody that wants to get a speaker system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few different options and more about what everything means in the speakers. So I'm going to show you kind of what the different, the wording that they use and what that really means, and kind of clear up some misconceptions. So we're going to look at speakers, and then towards the end we're going to look at subwoofers, and something very important to know before you start buying subwoofers. So I'm going to start off with what kind of some lingo or some slang or what some of these words mean. So let's start off. 10-inch woofer. The woofer is the main part of the speaker. That's what gives you the low end. There's a tweeter and a woofer. The tweeter is usually small. This one's 1.75 inches. The woofer is the bigger part. This one's 10. This is a QSC K10. It's one of the ones that's very respected. A lot of people have it. This is what I personally have. I know all about it. Some other people use JBL, Yamaha, Bose. Everything's a little bit different, but I'm just going to go over this one because this is what I know. So this has a 10-inch woofer. They have an 8 and a 12 as well. Some speakers go up to 15. I've had 15s, but I needed to move down to a 10-inch woofer just because of size in my vehicle. So 10-inch woofer, 1.75-inch tweeter. So this, a 90-degree conical DMT coverage. This is a little bit confusing. I'm going to move to this one later. SPL. Okay, SPL is very important. Sound pressure level, I believe. It's rated in decibels. What SPL is how loud the sound comes out of it. Now they'll say 129, and that's not exactly true, because this is most of the time these numbers are calculated. They put all these numbers and they put all the power and this and that and this amplifier and this kind of thing and this speaker, and then it spits out a number, and so that's what they do. So one thing to check is it like a calculated number, or was it actually done? Do they actually have like evidence that it happened? Some speakers do have evidence and do have it's been measured, and some are just a computer number, just a number. So that's very important to check. If it doesn't say that it was recorded, then 9 times out of 10 it was calculated, which isn't always a bad thing, but it is one of those things to note when you're comparing the different speakers. Appearance, ABS. ABS means plastic. It's basically a plastic enclosure. That's what most of the speakers are nowadays. Some still are wood, and with wood, usually you get a better sound. They've changed the plastic so well to make it sound great, but still, if you have a wood enclosure and a plastic enclosure, the wood generally sounds better. Okay, now we're going to move up here. 1000 watt continuous class D. Okay, so this is the amplifier. This is what's pushing power into the speaker. Now you can go with different types of speakers. The old school kind of thing, back about 5 years ago and beyond, everybody used amplifiers and separate speakers. So you get the sound coming from your mixer or your controller or whatever you use. You run it into an amplifier. That amplifier gets the sound, it puts it, gives a lot of power, sends it out through some thick wires. It goes to the speaker. So it has one cable running from one to the other, from the amplifier to the speaker. Nowadays, everything's changed to powered speakers. Powered speakers, the amplifier is in the speaker. It's generally cheaper to get that. There are some reasons why you would want a sorry, some reasons why you would want a separate speaker, but generally for most people you don't need it. You want this. This will be easier. You will have two cables running, but it is easier and less work, and it will be better for 98% of people. Monitor wedge, it just means that it can sit on its side. So let's see if there's a picture of it. Let me look. QSC monitor K10. Let's see. It just means that when you're performing, it can sit like this. So this is what it'll look like. It'll come up and sit down. But for most scenarios, if this is the first kind of setup you're getting into, you won't need that. Let's go back. Handles, 35 millimeter, yeah. Tilt direct. Tilt direct's pretty cool. So what that means is when it's on the speaker, it'll tilt down like this. That's very helpful when you're doing events and you're on stage, or if you want a better sound for the dance floor, that comes in handy. So that's why I really love these. It's easy. It's just a little twist on the speaker, and you're done. You stick it up on the pole, and it's tilted down 7.5 degrees. I believe that's what it is, 7.5. Okay, M10 rigging points, most people won't be using that. One thing that is very nice, the grill. So the grill's nice because it inverts the grill a little bit. So when it falls, it doesn't hit this part of the grill, it'll just hit the side. That's pretty nice. But what I was getting to is it's important to make sure that your speaker has cases available to buy. It is worth it to buy it. It's about 10% of the speaker cost, but it'll make the speakers look nicer all the time for the rest of the remainder of the life of the speaker. So make sure you do that. Another important thing is the mixer on the back of the speaker. So let's go to a picture where they have the mixer. This is basically where, okay, so you have two inputs. You can do one here and one here. One's line and one's for a mic. And then it has this. So basically, I'll do it quickly. You can put one line in here and one line in there. You can do a one thing from your mixer, and then you can do another one for another microphone if you need it. Here is kind of cool. You can do an RCA in from your iPhone. You just plug it right in, and you're good. So if you have one thing coming in here and you want to link it out, you can hit right here. You can link it from here to another speaker. Or if you do have two things coming in, you can dual link it just with this one, and it comes straight out. Here there are some little changes. It's just if you have an external sub, normal, or if you want to add a little bit more bass. I'll leave it to a review video for all that kind of stuff on this specific speaker. Let me get to this, the 90%. So this is what that means. Let me draw a little speaker here. So this is from a bird's eye view. So here is the speaker. There we go. Okay. So here's the crowd. There they are. Okay. What this 90-degree means is that from this speaker, at a 90-degree angle, this music will be coming out. So kind of have to go like this, and you say, okay, we'll shoot this out here, and then we'll shoot this out here. And so that is about the angle that the music will be shooting out at. What other speakers do, they won't have this configuration. What they'll say is they'll say, here's their speaker. Oh man, let me go back, that was bad. Let me do it better kind of thing. What they say is this is what most speakers do. They don't want to say it because it's hard, but QSC has done a great job with this and making sure that it works. Their high frequency speaker will go like this. So this is a tweeter, so high frequency. And then their low frequency will be at a stronger angle. Now, this may not seem like a big deal. It's a huge deal. Basically, the people here get a great sounding speaker. But if you are from over here or over here, you're only getting the low frequencies and not the high frequencies. And it may not seem like a big deal, but this is when somebody's giving a speech and people say, hey, you know, I couldn't understand a word that he said. And you're like, well, why not? You know, I mean, the speaker was pointed at you, you should be able to hear it. Well, this is why. Only this little area got it, but all these other areas and out from there aren't good. So this is very important. If you're a DJ and you're going to do ceremonies, you need to have a good speaker that can do this, that can have um, a big area that it'll hit. So even if you have one that says, you know, it has 110 high frequency and it shoots out even farther like this, that doesn't mean that the low frequency, you know, I mean, the low frequencies can be in here. So make sure that you get a speaker that knows what they're doing, and that's why I like QSC. They do have that, and many others have good options as well. But if you look at the other things in their line, come on. They do have some different. I want to look at it all. Let's look. Okay, so here it is. The K8 has 105. The K10 has 90, and the K12 has 75. Okay, so they do have a little bit different of an area. All right, now let's get into decibels. Decibels can be very hard to understand, but very cool once you start learning about it and start getting to know what's going on. Okay, think about it like this: every 10 decibels you get higher, it doubles the sound. So you start at 120 decibels, you move up to 130, that means it got twice as loud. You move up to 140, now it's twice as loud. Okay, so it's kind of confusing, but that's how it works. So my first set of speakers were 120 decibels. The K10, which is now what I'm upgrading to, or what I have now, is 129. So it's almost double the sound. The K12 goes up to 131, but then look at this. Look at the degree. It goes down to 75. So this is the middle of the line. This is more for people that don't need it loud. Man. The K8 is for people that don't need it super loud, but just want a very nice sounding speaker. The K12 would be if you want it really loud or a very good solid speaker. I chose the K10. I thought it was middle of the line. It'll be awesome. It'll be good. Let me look at these two. The frequency range. Okay, 160 or 61 hertz, 56 hertz, 48. So the higher you go up, the lower it goes down because it has a bigger driver, which means 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch. So you get a 12-inch driver, but it does go down in the area that it hits. So keep that in mind. Other than that, I mean, that's pretty much the basics of speakers. Know the different areas that they can be going, and I think you're pretty solid for speakers. If you have any questions, go ahead, leave them down below, and I'd love to help you out with them. Okay, now on to subs, because this is also important. Subs can be very confusing. Let me go into a pretty good subwoofer from QSC. Okay. So subwoofers are, of course, the very low sounding bass. They go 37 hertz, so very, very, very low, which is different. But you can't just buy a subwoofer and it won't make up the full sound system. You do need the highs as well. Okay, so this has a 135 decibel peak, and it gets down low. Don't worry about watts. Altogether, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter because you can have 3,000 watts and have 120 decibels, but you can have 1,000 watts and have 135 decibels. So don't worry about that. It's too much to have on your mind when you're thinking of all this stuff. Just think about SPL. That's the main point of how loud it gets. Okay, so subwoofers can be kind of weird. So let's say this is you with your table, and you're the DJ. Okay. So you have your speakers, one up here. Make sure you always put your speakers on poles. It is very important, even though you may not think it is, it is. It allows everybody to hear it, hear your hear what you're playing, hear what you're saying, much better for everybody. Make sure it's up above people's heads. So if somebody's here, make sure their head's about right here, and then that's about how high you want the speakers. You want it high enough so oops, you want it high enough that that their head doesn't block the speaker. Okay. So here's the main part of the speaker. Here's the other main part. You want their heads about right there. So it may mean, move the speakers up higher. And that's what's nice about the QSC is when the speaker's up here, it'll shift down a little bit. It's not that dramatic, but it kind of looks like that. So then the sound comes out onto the people's heads instead of out. So if that makes sense. So that'll be a little bit nicer. I'll do a review video on it because I really do like them. I'm not endorsing them or I'm not sponsored by them, but I do like them a lot. So this is the thing about subwoofers. You need the speakers. So subs, say you want to add one. They can be expensive, so let's just add one. Okay, awesome. You have a nice sub here. You're going to run wires into the sub, and then I'm going to run out of the sub up to the speaker. Awesome. Well, if you want to add another subwoofer, and this is 135 dB, 135 dB. So you want to add another sub. Okay, awesome. And then you're going to run the cables out, you're going to have it come down, and then you're going to run it out and out to the speaker. Awesome. Well, this is also 135 dB. Okay, so sub 135. Well, just by adding another sub, you just gained 3 decibels. So now you're at 138. Awesome, right? You just went up. What is that? Wait, no, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. Now you're up to 138 dB. Not too bad. You're 3/10 of a way doubling the sound. Well, here's a little trick that people don't know or understand. This is cool. It looks good. But if you took this sub and instead of put it right there, if you put it, say, on top of this other sub, next to the other sub, say it could be right here, it could be anywhere, as long as it's right next to it, you just added 3 decibels to the sound in the room just because of that. So now you're 6/10 of a way higher than you were. And all you have to do is you still run the cable out here, you run one cable to right here, and then you run another cable out to the speaker. Just as you did, you just put one extra cable in, and you went up 60%, if that's not crazy. So that's one thing that's important is, would you want to buy 2, or do you just need 1? Do you just need 1, or are you thinking of doing bigger events? Maybe you're a mobile DJ and you want to start doing school dances. You're like, well, I need a sub. It may pay to wait a month or 2 or 3, save up all your money, and then buy another sub. Because now you just went up 30% more than you would if you just bought 1, right? So that's kind of one of those things that you have to think about. 138 is great, but 141, that's pretty good. And if you add 1 more, you're going up even more. And you add another one. Okay, so as you can see, you can get into some huge numbers. And that's where this whole kind of thing works. I'm going to do a few more little things here. Speaker wire, don't worry about having the nicest speaker wire as you're buying speakers. It's not that important. A good wire is good, and having nice wires is awesome, but don't spend hundreds of dollars for cables because you really don't need it. I would say spend that money on black cables, just black extension cord, black cables. It will make you look more professional. Other than that, there's a few different types of speakers. There's, this kind of speaker. There's a line array that goes like this, and it has a speaker here, and then it has like the highs here, and then it can stack onto another speaker like this, and then it has, you know, I don't think those are necessary for everybody. I mean, some people would need them, most people don't. Don't stress out too much about that. Basically, you have what you need. Get a good sounding pair of speakers. Don't go out and buy the cheapest ones. I will guarantee it. When you upgrade, you're going to say, wow, why did I ever have those? And I had them. I had speakers that costed $250 each. And I can say they sucked. And I didn't know it at the time, but when I started hearing nice ones and I got my K10s, they were awesome sounding. So that's one of those things that you just need to kind of figure out. Go to Guitar Center, sound or listen to some of the different speakers and say, okay, which ones sound great. Now, Bose may sound the best, but they are, you know, $1,500 each. Well, you don't want to spend that kind of money. Hey, I totally understand. Money can be tight, and you don't want to do that. I totally understand. But definitely pick some good, um, some good tops. That's important. Don't worry about subs yet. Get to subs later. Get some nice tops. Get some good speaker stands that go up high, and that'll be very good. Then start doing the rest of it, and start figuring out the rest. But you know, for the first year, probably as a mobile DJ, don't worry about subs. But what's very important is do get tops. Thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down. I'll try and answer them. And maybe if anybody else from the community knows some stuff or information, leave it down below, because you know you could definitely be helping somebody. You know, this is just my what I've learned throughout my experience of being a mobile DJ and club DJ as well, and learning some different things and all that kind of stuff. So definitely let me know if I can help you in any way, because I'd love to help you. All right, thanks a lot, guys.